Vector's third eye twitched as he stood before the Galactic Council. 300 cycles of service had taught him many things, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. The holographic display floated above the central podium, glowing blue and green. Earth, the third planet in the Sol system. It looked peaceful, beautiful even, and completely defenseless. "Let me understand this correctly," Senior Counselor Thross rumbled. Her 7 appendages gripped her chair tightly. "This planet has no weapons in space? Nothing?" "Nothing, Counselor," Vector confirmed. His voice trembled slightly. "No defense platforms, no energy shields, no weapon arrays. Their satellites are only for communication and watching." Counselor Prin leaned forward in her suspension field. Her species had mastered faster-than-light travel before humans discovered fire. Now she looked confused, angry even. "And their technology level?" she asked. Vector manipulated the display with his secondary limbs. "Primitive, Counselor. They still use chemical rockets, fossil fuels for transportation. We detected no antimatter reactors, no graviton generators, not even basic energy weapons." The council chamber fell silent. 30 different species, 30 different ways of showing disbelief. Some clicked, some whistled, some simply stared. "Show them the data," Thross commanded. Vector's feeding tendrils curled nervously. He pulled up the next screen. Red markers filled the display. 17 of them. "In the past 200 cycles," he began, 17 separate military operations were planned against Earth." 17? Counselor Vex interrupted. "From whom?" "The Kravax Dominion, the Scythian Corporate Collective, the Yarvok clans, independent raiders, resource extraction corporations, even the Tertian expansion fleet." Thross leaned back. Her crystalline voice dropped low. "And how many of these operations were executed?" Vector wished he could disappear. He wished he had chosen a different career. Anything but this. "0, Counselor. 0. The chamber exploded in noise. Clicks became shrieks. Whistles became roars. Electromagnetic pulses flashed across the room. Vector felt 300 eyes burning into him. "Silence!" Thross slammed her appendage against the armrest. The sound echoed like thunder. The room went quiet. "Analyst Vector," Counselor Thross continued, her voice dangerously calm, "do you comprehend how impossible that is?" Vector's bioluminescent patches flickered. "Yes, Counselor." "The Kravax Dominion conquered 47 systems in a single solar rotation. The Scythian Collective has strip-mined entire quadrants. The Yarvok clans attack defenseless cargo ships for sport." She paused, her eyes fixed on Vector. "And you are telling this council that none of them could invade a planet that uses pointy metal tubes, tubes that throw smaller metal pieces with explosions? The humans call them guns, Counselor. And yes, that is my report." Counselor Prin's voice cut through the tension. "There must be something we are missing. A hidden defense system, cloaked battle stations, underground weapons." "We thought so too," Vector replied. He pulled up more data. "We sent deep space reconnaissance, quantum scanners, gravitational analysis, neutrino detection, everything. And nothing, Counselor. Earth is exactly what it appears to be. A primitive planet with no orbital defenses." "Then why?" Thross roared. "Why does no one attack them?" Vector's datapad trembled in his grippers. "That, Counselor, is what we do not know." The silence that followed was worse than the noise. Vector could feel it pressing down on him, the weight of the impossible, the absurdity of the unexplainable. Finally, Thross spoke. Her voice was ice. "Analyst Vector, you have 48 standard cycles." "For what, Counselor?" "To solve this mystery. Find out why nobody attacks Earth. Find out what the entire galaxy is missing." Thross's eyes narrowed. Because I refuse to believe that every military power in known space has developed a collective phobia of a species that still burns ancient plant matter for energy. Vector's eye stalks drooped. A heavy feeling settled in his chest. And Vector, Thros added, do you know what happened to the last analyst who investigated Earth? Vector's patches dimmed. No, Counselor. He requested immediate transfer to the Outer Rim, said he would rather catalog space fungus on barren moons than look at another human file. He left after 3 cycles. Thros's appendages flexed menacingly. You have 48 cycles. Do not make me regret this assignment. Vector bowed and turned to leave. Behind him, he heard Counselor Vex mutter to Prin. What could possibly scare the entire galaxy away from one primitive planet? Vector did not know the answer, but he had a very bad feeling he was about to find out.
The archives level smelled wrong. Vector had worked in information centers across 12 systems. None of them smelled like this. Ozone, recycled air, and something else, something he could not name, something that made his olfactory sensors ache. Fear, perhaps. He had been here for 6 hours, alone. The silence pressed against him like a physical weight. His colleague Jarell appeared from behind a data stack. Her 4 arms moved nervously. You should leave, she said. No greeting, no small talk, just those 3 words. Vector did not look up from his terminal. The council gave me 48 cycles. I have used 6 hours. The last analyst lasted 3 cycles before he broke. Now Vector looked at her. Broke? Jarell's vocoder crackled. Requested emergency psychiatric evaluation. Transfer to the furthest outpost he could find. He said... She paused. He said looking at human data made him feel like prey. Vector's feeding tendrils curled. Prey? We are galactic intelligence analysts. We study threats. We do not become prey. That is what he thought too. Jarell pulled up a screen. Look, 17 operations against Earth. 17. Every single one has survivor testimonies sealed under psychological hazard protocols. Vector stared at the classifications, red markers, warning symbols, restricted access codes. Psychological hazard? He repeated. For information? The Cravex incident alone generated 4,000 individual trauma therapy requests. 4,000! Vector, the Cravex considered dying in battle the highest honor. What could traumatize warriors who worship death? Vector's bioluminescent patches flickered rapidly, a sign of stress his species could not hide. I need to access these files. Jarell's upper arms crossed. Her lower arms continued sorting data crystals, but faster now. Anxious movements. I set up an isolated terminal for you. Sub-level 9, triple encrypted, no network connection. If anything leaks out... She did not finish. And... I programmed an automatic session terminator. If you do not check in every 3 hours, it wipes your access and alerts medical staff. Vector finally turned to face her fully. You think I will need medical? Jarell backed toward the exit. All 4 arms trembled. I think there's a reason the entire galaxy avoids Earth, and I do not think it's because we are all cowards. She disappeared into the shadows. Vector was alone again. Sub-level 9 was colder, darker. The isolated terminal sat in the center of an empty room, a single light above it, nothing else. Vector approached slowly. His reflection stared back from the dark screen. He looked frightened. He was frightened. His manipulators touched the activation panel. The screen came alive. File directories appeared. Thousands of them, all marked with red warnings. Psychological hazard, viewer discretion advised, traumatic content, clearance level Omega, survivor testimony, medical supervision recommended. Vector selected the first file, the Cravex Dominion operation, 200 cycles ago. The file header appeared. Operation Earthfall, final report. War Captain Gelrax, Cravex Dominion. Classification, sealed, for psychological containment. Vector opened it. The timestamp showed it was filed 3 hours after the fleet's retreat. 3 hours. Most military reports took weeks to compile. What could force a war captain to write a report in 3 hours? The answer came in the first paragraph. This report is filed immediately due to unprecedented circumstances requiring urgent threat assessment update for all galactic military forces. Standard protocol suspended. What follows is accurate to the best of my deteriorating mental state. Deteriorating mental state? A war captain? A veteran of 47 successful planetary invasions? Vector's patches dimmed. He continued reading. Initial approach proceeded normally. Target planet confirmed defenseless. No orbital weapons, no energy shields, no defense grid. Population 6.3 billion. Technology level primitive. Estimated resistance duration 4 to 6 local days. Standard Kravex confidence. They had never failed. Never. Landing forces deployed to 7 strategic locations. Initial contact with indigenous population proceeded as expected. Humans appeared confused, frightened, disorganized. No military response detected in first 12 minutes. 12 minutes? What could happen in 12 minutes? The report's tone changed in the next paragraph. The formal military language crumbled. Then, they came. 3 words. That was all, but Vector felt cold. Not their military, not their governments, just them, the humans. They emerged from their dwellings carrying weapons. So many weapons, from everywhere, from homes, from vehicles, from hidden places we did not know existed. Vector scrolled faster. His heart's pounded. Intelligence said limited civilian armament. Intelligence was catastrophically wrong. One human female, elderly by their standards, fired on my soldiers from 700 meters from her upper floor window while complaining about property values. 700 meters with primitive weapons while complaining? The report deteriorated further. Landing Zone 3 encountered organized resistance within 18 minutes. Not soldiers, hobbyists, historical warfare enthusiasts with functional antique weapons, competitive marksmen with customized firearms, engineers with improvised explosives, craftspeople with, I cannot translate this properly, homemade napalm. Vector's manipulators froze on the screen. Homemade napalm? Landing Zone 7 requested emergency extraction after encountering a single human who claimed to be a weekend warrior. This individual carried enough ammunition for what he called a fun afternoon. He suppressed an entire drop pod of soldiers, alone, while laughing. The final paragraph made Vector's feeding tendrils go rigid. We were not prepared for a species where every civilian is a combatant, where personal arsenals exceed military stockpiles, where defense is not duty, but recreation. Retreat ordered after 47 minutes. Casualties, 132 Kravex soldiers. Human casualties, 0 confirmed. 3 possible from friendly fire, which they found humorous. The last line burned itself into Vector's mind. Recommendation: avoid Sol system indefinitely. May the void have mercy on whoever tries next. Vector sat back. His entire body shook. That was 200 cycles ago. Earth's Stone Age, relatively speaking. If humans were that dangerous then, what are they now? His communicator blinked. 3-hour check-in. Vector pressed the acknowledgement. His manipulator slipped. Twice. Jarrell's voice crackled through. Status? Vector's voice failed. He tried again. I need to see the next file. Vector, maybe you should... I need to see what happened when someone tried a different approach. Silence on the other end. Then, quietly, the Scythian file? Yes. Vector, that one is worse. How could it possibly be worse? Jarrell's response chilled him. Because the Scythian never fired a single shot.
Vector's hands would not stop shaking. He stared at the screen. The cursor blinked, waiting, mocking him. Open the next file, his mind whispered. You need to know. Do I? another part of him asked. Do I really? The Cravex file had been military, straightforward. Soldiers met resistance. Soldiers retreated. That made sense. That followed logic. But Jarrell's words echoed in his mind. The Silthian never fired a single shot. How could it be worse? Vector's manipulator hovered over the file icon. The Silthian Corporate Collective, 140 cycles ago. He opened it. The mission briefing loaded. Professional, clean, corporate efficiency at its finest. Operation Silent Acquisition. Method Economic Infiltration. Objective Resource Assessment and Contract Establishment. Force deployment 50 infiltration specialists. Estimated duration 3 standard months. Weapons authorized? None. Vector felt a strange relief. No weapons, no combat, just business. Corporate espionage. The Silthian were masters at this. They had acquired 17 planetary economies through contracts alone. No violence, no war, just very fine print. This would be different. This would be actual duration 9 days. Mission status, total failure. Operatives recovered, 43 of 50. Operatives requiring psychiatric care, 43 of 43. Vector's relief died. 9 days. They lasted 9 days. He scrolled to the daily reports. His patches flickered faster now. Stress patterns he could not control. Day 1. Infiltration complete. All 50 operatives successfully established on Earth. Cover identities accepted. No suspicion detected. Optimal conditions. Day 2. Initial observations. Operatives reporting confusion regarding human social customs, frequent invitations to cookouts and barbecues, cultural significance unclear, proceeding with integration protocols. Normal so far, cultural adaptation took time. Vector continued. Day 3. Infiltrator Kelkis, Texas region. Vector read the report, then read it again. His translator must be malfunctioning. Local humans are, how do I phrase this, aggressively friendly. They keep inviting me to shoot some cans. I have declined 7 times. They have asked 8 times. Their persistence suggests possible suspicion of my identity. Request guidance. Shoot some cans? What threat assessment category was that? Day 4. Infiltrator Kelkis, follow-up. Attended mandatory barbecue to maintain cover. Humans cooked deceased animal flesh over open flames for recreation. When I expressed concern about primitive food preparation methods, they laughed. One human said, "Wait till you see my smoker. It's got more tech than my truck." Vector felt confused. So far, this seemed harmless. Odd, but harmless. Then he read the next paragraph. 3 separate humans showed me their carry pieces as casually as discussing weather. We were at a social gathering. Children were present. They were showing me firearms at a party. Vector's breathing spiracles constricted. One human asked if I had a preference for caliber. I do not know what this means. I am supposedly making friends. Why are we discussing weapons specifications? Day 5. Multiple operatives reporting. The reports came faster now, shorter, more panicked. Infiltrator Mex, California region. Attended civic meeting, counted 19 visible firearms among attendees. This was a discussion about local park maintenance. Park maintenance. Infiltrator Vorn, Colorado region. Human coworker invited me shooting after work, showed me his collection. 47 firearms. 47 for one individual. He called it modest. Infiltrator Presh, Utah region. Children here learn firearm operation as routine education. Children. I observed a family teaching their offspring precision shooting as bonding activity. They packed lunches. Day 6. Situation deteriorating. The professional tone collapsed completely now. Infiltrator Morchin, Arizona location. Attempted to subtly inquire about human defensive capabilities per mission parameters. Elderly human male, estimated 70-plus solar rotations, invited me to his gun room. It contained 43 firearms. 43! When I asked if he was former military, he laughed and said he was just getting started. He has a backup room, a secondary location for more guns. He showed me his backup room. It contained 38 additional weapons and ammunition. So much ammunition. Send extraction. Vector's patches went dark, completely dark, a physiological response to overwhelming stress. 70 years old, 81 personal weapons, just getting started. Day 7, emergency extractions requested. The reports became frantic. Infiltrator Prexel, Florida region, requesting immediate extraction. Witnessed human wrestle territorial reptile, they call it alligator, away from residential area, bare-handed, while complaining about homeowners association regulations. When I expressed shock at this dangerous behavior, 3 other humans confirmed they had also dealt with gators recently. One showed me scars with pride. These humans fight prehistoric predators for recreational purposes. Extract me now. Infiltrator Velian, Montana location. The humans know something is wrong. They are too helpful, too interested. Keep asking if I have been hunting. One asked what I would do if someone broke into my ship. I said I would call the authorities. 7 humans looked at me like I had grown a second head. One human patted a bulge at his waist and said, "Out here, we are the authorities." He was trying to be reassuring. It was not reassuring. Vector could barely read now, his vision blurred, but he forced himself to continue. Day 8, mass extraction authorized. 43 operatives reporting psychological unsuitability for continued operations. 7 operatives missing. Last known locations, rural areas designated Texas, Alaska, and Montana. Search efforts suspended after recovery teams reported feeling watched and extremely unwelcome. Day 9, mission terminated. The final assessment was 2 sentences. 2 sentences that explained everything. Human civilian population demonstrates militant self-sufficiency incompatible with standard infiltration protocols. Recommend permanent operational exclusion of Sol system. Vector sat in silence. The terminal hummed. The light above flickered. The Silthian never fired a single shot, never threatened anyone, never invaded. They had simply tried to blend in. And Earth's normal, everyday civilian culture had broken them in 9 days. Not soldiers, not warriors, just regular humans, going to work, having cookouts, teaching their children, visiting elderly relatives, all of them armed, all of them trained, all of them considering it completely normal. Vector's communicator blinked. 3-hour check-in. He did not respond. The communicator blinked again. Urgent now. Jarrell's voice, tight with worry. Vector, respond. Are you compromised? Define compromised. Do you need medical? Vector looked at the screen. 1 file remained. The Yarvac raid, 15 cycles ago. Recent, fresh. I need to see the last file. Vector, please, stop. You have enough for your report. The Yarvac file. Jarrell, what happened? Silence. Then, so quietly, Vector almost missed it. They went down expecting easy prey. They came back screaming about humans who enjoyed combat, who smiled while fighting, who coordinated like military units, but were just neighbors. Vector's patches flickered weakly. How many casualties? Vector, how many? 17 Yarvac dead. 3 surrendered. Chose alien imprisonment over facing more humans. Vector closed his eyes. All 3 of them. Open the file, he said. I need to see why.
Vector did not remember opening the 3rd file. One moment he was staring at the screen. The next moment audio was playing. Voices, loud, confident, laughing. The Yarvac raid, 15 cycles ago. Fresh, so terribly fresh. The timestamp glowed. Mission start, 00000. 0-0. Captain Brock's voice filled the empty room, cheerful, excited. Vector's translator caught every word. Listen up, you beautiful disasters. Sensors confirm what we already knew. This little blue marble has nothing. No defenses, no shields, no weapons platforms. This is the easiest score of our careers. Laughter. 23 ships worth of raiders, 450 Yarvok pirates, all veterans, all successful. Vector's manipulators trembled over the controls. He should stop. He should leave. He should... Touch down in 10 minutes, Brock continued. Remember, these humans have primitive metal throwers. Your armor will stop anything they have. Standard smash and grab. In and out. Rich and gone. More laughter. Cheering. The sounds of predators approaching prey. Vector watched the timestamp. 0437. 4 minutes, 37 seconds after landing. The laughter stopped. Captain? A new voice, younger, uncertain. We have humans approaching our position. So, fire a warning shot. That's protocol. Sir, we did. They fired back. And, Captain, they're still coming. Silence on the channel. Then Brock's voice, confused now. What do you mean, still coming? You're in full tactical armor. They don't seem to care, sir. One just got out of his transport. He's carrying something. Looks like an oversized tube. Wait, is that... The explosion crackled through Vector's terminal. He flinched. His patches went dark. Team 7, report. Static. Then, breathless, panicked. Still here, Captain. Barely. That human just fired a rocket at us. Where does a civilian get a rocket launcher? Vector's breathing spiracles froze. A rocket? A civilian with a rocket? He's reloading, Team 7 continued. He's actually reloading. He has more. 0612. 6 minutes. The mission was 6 minutes old. Team 9. Captain, we have organized militia. They appeared out of nowhere. They have radio coordination. They're flanking us. How are they flanking us? We just landed. Team 3. Sir, civilians in pickup trucks with mounted heavy weapons. Mounted heavy weapons on pickup trucks. Team 4. Captain, you need to hear this. We encountered a human who says he's a history enthusiast. He's engaging us with a fully functional weapon from something called World War II. Sir, that war ended over 80 years ago. He has a working museum piece, and he knows how to use it. Vector's vision blurred. He could not process this, could not understand. The timestamp continued. 0823. 8 minutes. Captain! Captain! The voice was raw now, terrified. They're coordinating. Multiple groups. They have radio communications. They're calling reinforcements. Someone just said, the boys from the range are coming. What's a range? Why do they have so many guns? Another voice cut in. Sir, they're not retreating. We're firing on them. They're taking cover and returning fire, like they trained for this. These are civilians. They can't be civilians, someone screamed. No civilian population is this armed, this well-coordinated, this enthusiastic about combat. 0947. 9 minutes, 47 seconds. Vector heard something in the background of the transmission, something that made his blood freeze. Human voices, distant but clear. Laughing. They were laughing. Captain, the voice broke. They're enjoying this. One of them just whooped. They're treating this like sport. They're treating us like sport. 01015. Brock's voice returned, all confidence gone, replaced with something Vector had never heard from a Yarvok raider. Raw terror. Abort! Abort everything! All teams return to ships now. But Captain, we have wounded! Leave them! Get off that planet now! Vector heard the panic, the chaos, ships launching, raiders screaming, and underneath it all, faint but unmistakable, more human laughter. The final transmission came 3 minutes later. Brock,
alone in his ship, speaking into the recorder. His voice shook. Intelligence was wrong. So wrong. These aren't civilians. I don't know what they are, but they're not civilians. No civilian population should be this heavily armed, this well coordinated, this enthusiastic about combat. Another breath, ragged, broken. No civilian population treats warfare as recreation. The recording ended. Vector sat motionless. The room felt smaller now, darker, the walls pressed in. His communicator had been blinking for some time. He had not noticed. Gerald's voice. "Vector, it's been 4 hours. Vector, respond!" Vector's manipulator moved to the comm, slow, mechanical. "I'm here." "Thank the void. Are you—" "There's one more file." Vector's voice sounded hollow, empty. Marked, "Current Threat Assessment. Eyes only. Psychological Containment Protocol." "Vector, no! You have enough. Write your report, leave." "I need to know." "You don't. Please, whatever is in that file, I need to know why." Silence. Then Gerald's voice, small and frightened. "The last analyst who opened that file, he didn't request a transfer, Vector. We told the council that to save his dignity." Vector's patches flickered. "What do you mean?" "He opened that file, read it, then walked out of the archives, directly to his ship, and left. No report, no explanation, just left. He sent one message from deep space." "What did it say?" Gerald's voice cracked. "They're not the prey. We are." Vector looked at the final file. His manipulator hovered over it. "I have to open it," Vector whispered. "Vector." He opened it, and the truth crashed over him like a wave.
The file did not open like the others. No military headers, no mission reports, no timestamps, just text. Simple, clean, terrifying. Classified analysis, Earth Cultural Study. Author, Dr. Zelthan, Galactic Psychological Research Division. Warning: this document contains information designated as existential threat to galactic stability. Reading beyond this point may cause fundamental paradigm shifts in threat perception. Vector's 3 eyes focused on the screen. His body had stopped shaking. He felt nothing now, just empty, waiting. He scrolled down. After analyzing 847 contact incidents with Earth over 300 cycles, this researcher has identified the core anomaly that has confounded every military power, corporation, and government in known space. It is not a weapon. It is not a defense system. It is not technology. It is culture. Vector leaned closer. Culture? That was the secret? Every species in the galaxy arms its population for one of 3 reasons: war, oppression, or necessity. Governments arm soldiers to fight. Tyrants arm loyalists to control. Survival situations arm citizens to defend. Humans arm themselves for none of these reasons. They arm themselves because they want to. Vector read the line again and again. His translator must be broken. Want to? Human weapon ownership is not mandated. It is not assigned. It is not distributed by authority. It is a choice, a cultural value, a tradition spanning thousands of their years. They call it a right, not a duty, a right. They purchase weapons with personal resources. They practice with them recreationally. They teach their offspring as bonding activities. They form social communities around marksmanship. They compete for accuracy, for speed, for skill. They do not train for war. They train because they enjoy it. Vector's patches began flickering again, faster now. Understanding was coming. He did not want it. Observation 1. A human farmer owns 17 firearms, not for military service, for various purposes: hunting, sport, collection, home defense, entertainment. He shoots targets every weekend. His children know firearm safety before they learn advanced mathematics. Observation 2. Human gun ranges exist in every population center. Civilians pay currency to practice shooting. Thousands attend daily. They call it relaxing. Observation 3. Human cultural events called gun shows occur regularly. Tens of thousands attend to buy, to sell, to admire, to discuss. Entire economies exist around civilian armament. Observation 4. Humans debate weapon restrictions endlessly, but even the most restrictive human territories have more armed civilians than most planets have total military personnel. Vector stopped reading. His breathing spiracles worked rapidly, too rapidly. This could not be real. This could not be. The terrifying conclusion. Earth does not have a warrior class. Earth does not have a citizen militia. Earth does not have a population that can fight. Earth has a population that wants to fight, that prepares for fighting, that enjoys preparation for combat. They are not soldiers waiting for orders. They are not civilians waiting for protection. They are 8 billion individuals who have collectively decided that personal armed defense is normal, proper, and righteous. You cannot invade Earth because you cannot occupy Earth. You cannot occupy 8 billion people who see resistance not as duty, but as their fundamental right, who own more weapons than your entire fleet, who practice more than your soldiers, who will fight not because they must, but because they believe they should. The next paragraph made Vector's world shatter. Every military doctrine in galactic history assumes civilians will surrender when faced with superior force. Human history shows they do not. They did not surrender when outnumbered. They did not surrender when outgunned. They did not surrender when their cities burned. They do not know how to surrender. It is not in their cultural programming. The Kravex brought overwhelming force. Humans met it with personal arsenals. The Sylthian brought subtle infiltration. Humans casually displayed more weapons than infiltrators had ever seen. The Yarvok brought raids. Humans treated it as target practice. This is not about capability. It is about willingness, about eagerness. Humans do not fight because they are strong. They are strong because they never stopped fighting. Vector's vision blurred. His manipulators slipped from the controls. The final section waited. Bold text, red warnings surrounding it. Recommendation for Galactic Security Council. Vector read it. His heart stopped. Maintain Earth's isolation at all costs, not for their protection, for ours. They currently fight only each other and local fauna. They have not unified. They have not looked outward with hostile intent. They argue among themselves about trivial matters. But if they ever unify, if they ever decide to expand, if they ever point their cultural love of armament, combat, and resistance outward instead of inward, there is no force in the known galaxy that could stop them. They have 8 billion potential soldiers. They own an estimated 1 billion firearms on their planet right now, and that number increases annually, by choice. Earth is not a primitive planet to avoid. Earth is a sleeping predator, and we should pray to whatever gods we worship that it never wakes. The file ended. Vector sat in darkness. The terminal's glow faded. The automatic system had logged him out. He did not move, could not move. His communicator blinked. Council summons. His 48 cycles were up. Vector stood before the council again. Same chamber, same counselors, different Vector. Counselor Thros leaned forward. Well, analyst, what is Earth's secret? Vector's voice came out flat, emotionless, the voice of someone who had seen too much. It is not a secret, counselor. Then what is it? It is their culture. Every human is armed. Every human is trained. Every human is willing. and they think it is normal. The chamber went silent. Counselor Prin spoke quietly. How do you conquer a planet where civilians have personal arsenals? You do not, Counselor. Then what do we do? Vector looked at each council member. His 3 eyes saw them differently now, saw their ships, their weapons, their power, and saw how meaningless it all was. We leave them alone, Vector said. We update our star charts. We mark the Sol system as restricted space. Restricted? That's for hazardous anomalies, radiation zones, spatial tears. Yes. Thros' appendages flexed. You want us to classify an entire species as a natural hazard. Not a hazard, Counselor. Vector's voice went completely dark. A sanctuary world. Confusion rippled through the chamber. Sanctuary? For whom? Not for them. Vector's voice dropped to a whisper. For us. We want them to stay there, in their system, in their planet, arguing among themselves, hunting their animals, shooting their targets. And if they leave? Vector met Thros's gaze, all 3 eyes steady, dead. Then pray, Counselor, pray they come as friends, because if they come as conquerors... He did not finish. He did not need to. The silence that followed was absolute. Finally, Counselor Vex spoke. Motion to classify Sol system as galactic sanctuary zone. All in favor. Every appendage, every manipulator, every limb rose. Unanimous. Motion passed. Thros's voice shook slightly. Earth is now officially off limits to all galactic powers, permanently. Vector turned to leave. Analyst? Thros called after him. One final question. Vector paused. The humans, do they know? Do they know the entire galaxy fears them? Vector's patches flickered one last time. No, Counselor. They think they are alone in the universe, still searching for alien life, still wondering if anyone is out there. Good, Thros whispered. Let's keep it that way. Vector walked out. Behind him, he heard Counselor Prin's final words to the council. What kind of species builds that much firepower and calls it a hobby? Vector knew the answer now. The kind you never ever visit.